7:1, 2 verses. They who by thought have guided all that speech hath best are they who, with their heart, have uttered words of truth, made stronger by the strength which the third prayer bestows, have by the fourth prayer learned the nature of the cow. Well knows this son his sire, he knows his mother well. He hath been son, and he hath been illiberal. He hath encompassed heaven, and air's mid-realm, and sky he hath become. This all he hath come nigh to us. We have a hint here about this principle of truth as something more than facts. Hymn 7:2, 1 verse. Invoke for us, proclaim in sundry places, thy kinsman of the gods, our sire, Atharvan, his mother's germ, his father's breath, the youthful, who with his mind hath noticed this oblation. Sometimes just noticing something gives some credit to your account. Hymn 7:3, 1 verse. He in this manner, showing forth his exploits, for he, bright God, is our broad way for choosing, rose up to meet his stay, the mead's best position of his own self, he sent his body forward. And with all these prayers and stuff, it's important to have bodily actions connected to them. Hymn 7:4, 1 verse. With thine 11 teams to aid our wishes, yea, with thy 22 teams of value, with all thy 33 teams, for drawing here, loose these teams, thou who art prompt to listen. And it counts all the more when it's our choice to pay attention. In 7:5, 5 verses, the gods, light beings, adored the sacrifice with worship. These were the statues of primeval ages. Those mighty ones attained the cope of heaven. There where the Samhitas, the gods of old, are dwelling, sacrifice was manifest among us. It sprang to life, and then in time grew stronger. Then it became the deity's lord and ruler. May it bestow on us abundant riches, where the gods worshipped gods with their oblation, worshipped immortals with immortal spirit. There in the loftiest heaven may we be happy, and look upon that light when Surya rises. With their oblation, Purusha, the gods performed sacrifice. A sacrifice more potent still, they paid with invoking him. With the dog, the gods perplexed, have paid oblation, and with cows' limbs in sundry sacrifices, and invoke for us in many a place, declare him who with his mind hath noticed this our worship. So the light beings, they notice, and they join in with the ritual and worship too. Hymn 7:6. Four verses. Aditya is sky, and air's mid-region. Aditya is the Father, Son, and Mother. Aditya, all the gods, and the 5 nations. Aditya, what is now and what is future. We call for help the Queen of Law and Order, great Mother of all those whose ways are righteous, far spread, unwasting, strong in her dominion. Aditya, wisely leading, while protecting, sinless may we ascend. For wheel the vessel, towed with good oars, divine that never leaketh. Earth, our strong guard, incomparable heaven, Aditya, wise leading, while protecting, let us bring hither, in pursuit of riches. Aditya, with our word, the mighty mother, her in whose lap the spacious air is lying. May she afford us triply guarding shelter. And in the tarot, the queens are the cardinal signs. And rather than a separate law, you could say, they represent a sort of bringing in the law in this way, or maintaining it, or processing it. Hymn 7:7, one verse. I have sung praise to Dera's sons and Aditya's, those very lofty and invulnerable gods. For far within the depths of ocean is their home, and in the worship paid them none excelleth these. Well, symbolically, we can think of the ocean as the unconscious, but there's the physical ocean, and the light beings are supposed to be beings that, you can't kill off and all that. Hymn 7:8, one verse. Go forward on thy way, from good to better, Brahaspata, proceed thy steps, and guide thee. Place this man here, within this earth's enclosure, afar from foes with all his men about him. Hymn 7:9, 4 verses. Kushan was born to move on distant pathways, on roads remote from earth, remote from heaven, to both most lofty places of assembly. He travels and returns with perfect knowledge. Kushan knows all these realms. May he conduct us by ways that are most free from fear and danger. Giver of blessings, glowing all heroic, may he, the wise and watchful, go before us. We are thy praisers here, O Kushan. Never let us be injured under thy protection. From out the distance far and wide, may Kushan stretch his right hand forth. Let him drive back our loss to us. Let us return with what is lost. Now, in general, we don't want the war or the confrontation. So, if there's a way that, outside of being cowardly for that, we distance. But the spiritual beings, it's like they have a separate dimension. We talk about earth and heaven in our realm. It's like, well, if they add an extra dimension or two to it, it's like, the flat land, or just 3D thing. Hymn 7:10, at rest of thine, exhaustless and delightful, good to invoke, beneficent, free giver, wherewith thou feedest all things that are choicest. Bring that, Saraswati, that we may drain it. Hymn 7:11, one verse. That far spread thunder sent from thee, which cometh on all this world, a high celestial signal, strike not, O God, our growing grain with lightning, nor kill it with burning rays of Surga. Hymn 7:12, 4 verses. In concord may Prajapata's 2 daughters, gathering and assembly, both protect me. May every man I meet respect and aid me. Fair be my words, O fathers at the meetings. We know thy name, O conference. Thy name is interchange of talk. Let all the company who joins the conference agree with me. Of these men seated here, I make the splendor and the lore mine own. Indra, make me conspicuous in all this gathered company. Whether your thoughts are turned away, or bound and fastened here, or there, we draw them hitherward again. Let your mind firmly rest on me. And one of the things that we see in secret societies, and ancient Egyptians were a prime example of that, is this, well, you know this particular name, and then you progress. Hymn 7:13, one verse. As the sun rising taketh to himself all the brightness of the stars, so I assume the glory of women and men, mine enemies. All ye among my rivals, behold me as I come to you. I seize the glory of my foes as the sun rising, theirs who sleep. And certainly one advantage that you do want to have with counterintelligence is knowing exactly, what do they know? Hymn 7:14, 4 verses. I praise this God, parent of heaven and earth. Exceeding wiser, possessed of real energy, giver of treasure, thinker dear to all, whose splendor is sublime, whose light shone brilliant in creation, who wise and golden-handed, in his beauty made the sky. O thou God quickening for our ancient father, sentest him height above and room about him. So unto us, O Savitar, send treasures, abundant day by day in shape of cattle. Savitar God, our household friend, most precious, hath sent our fathers life and power and riches. Let him drink soma and rejoice when worshipped. Under his law, even the wanderer travels. Now, in hymn 13, as the sun rising taketh to himself the brightness of the stars, so I assume the glory of women and men, mine enemies. That reminds me of, all these usurper stories, right? Like Marduk taking on the names of various other entities. Hymn 7:15, one verse. I choose, O Savitar, that glorious favor with fruitful energy and every blessing, even this one, this teeming cow, its milk by Kanda, thousand streamed, milk for happiness by the mighty. And he sees the glory of my foes as the sun rising, theirs who sleep. And so you have sleep, real energy, might, the chosen, all ye among my rivals who behold me as I come to you. Here it's, choosing out of all who you can choose. Hymn 7:16, one verse. Increase this man, Brahaspata, illume him, O Savitar, for high and happy fortune. Sharpen him thoroughly, though already sharpened, with With glad acclaim, let all the gods, lightwings, receive him. Well, if you're agreeable to ultimate divinity, all the lightwings do receive you. In 717, 4 verses. May the ordainer give us wealth, Lord, ruler of the world of life. With full hand may he give to us. May Vatar grant the worshipper henceforth imperishable life. May we obtain the favor of the gods, who giveth every boon. To him may Vatar grant all kinds of blessings, who, craving children, serves him in his dwelling. Him may the gods invest with life eternal. Yea, all the gods and Aditya accordant. May this our gift please Savitar, Vrata, Vatar, Prajapata, and Agna, Lord of Treasures. May Tvashtar, Vishnu, blessing him with children, give store of riches to the sacrificer. The God who giveth every. So, beyond all these names, beyond all these light beings that people serve, there's the real God, the ultimate God, what we would mean by the word of God. Because gods, I'm not sure when they say God if they're using the same sort of term. Because gods, they're meaning the Devis or Devas. Hymn 718, 2 verses. Burst open, Prithvi, and cleave asunder this celestial cloud. Untie, O Vatar, for thou canst, the bottle of the breast of heaven. Let not the sun's heat burn, nor cold destroy her. Let earth with all her quickening drops burst open. Even for her the waters flow, and fatness where Soma is even, there is bliss forever. Hymn 719, 1 verse. Prajapati engenders earthly creatures. May the benevolent ordainer form them, having one common womb in mind and spirit. He who is Lord of plenty, give me plenty. And so Prithvi would be like the term for the center or the potential, and Prajapati is what acts upon it. In 720, 6 verses. Anamata, approve today our sacrifice among the gods. May Agni bear mine offerings away from me, the worshipper. Do thou, Anamata, approve, and grant us health and happiness. Accept the offered sacrifice, and goddess give us progeny. May he, approving in return, accord us wealth inexhaustible with store of children. Never may we be subject to his anger, but rest in his benevolence and mercy. Thy name is easy to invoke, good leader, approved Anamata, and rich in bounty, source of all bonds. Fill up therewith our worship, and, blessed one, grant us wealth with goodly heroes. Anamata hath come to this, our worship, well-formed, to give good lands and valiant heroes. For her kind care hath blessed us. God protected, may she assist the sacrifice we offer. Anamata became this all. Whatever standeth or walketh, everything that moveth, may we enjoy thy gracious love, O goddess, regard us, O Anamata, with favor. And, well, previously we talked about engendering, so now examples of stuff that they call as if they have gender. Hymn 721, 1 verse. With prayer come all together to the Lord of heaven. He is the peerless one, far-reaching guest of men. He, God of ancient time, hath gained a recent thrall. To him alone is turned the path which all must tread. And there is a divinely ordained path for every nation, every individual of that nation. Hymn 722, 2 verses. Unto 1,000 sages he hath given sight. Thought light is he in ranging all. The bright one hath sent forth the dawns, a closely gathered band, immaculate, unanimous, brightly refulgent in their homes. And hymn 723 is one verse. The fearful dream, the indigents, the monster, the malignant hags, all female fiends of evil name and wicked tongue we drive afar. It's like with hymn 20, where you have beneficent entities that are female. We have, other ones that are not for us. Hymn 724, what treasure hath been dug for us by Indra, by Agni, Visvadevas, tuneful Marutas, on us may Savitar, whose laws are faithful, Prajapata, and heavenly grace, bestow it. And like in hymn 21, some beings, a lot of beings apparently, because we're having the Marutas, coming together for something beneficial. Hymn 725, 2 verses. The early morning prayer hath come to Vishnu and Varuna, lords through might, whom none hath equalled, gods by whose power the realms of air were established, strongest and most heroic in their vigor. The early prayer hath ever come to Vishnu and Varuna, by that God's high power and statute, in whose control is all this world that shineth, all that hath powers to see, and all that breatheth. And let us remember the dawn prayer. And by dawn, I mean, the horizontal lines of twilight come in to sunrise. Or, if you're incapable of being awake at that time, then whenever you wake up. But don't plan to miss that prayer. Hymn 726. Eight verses. I will declare the mighty deeds of Vishnu, of him who measured out the earthly regions, who propped the highest place a congregation, thrice setting down his footstep, widely striding. Loud boast doth Vishnu make of this achievement, like some wild beast, dread, prowling, mountain roaming, may he approach us from farthest distance. Now within those 3 wide extended paces, all worlds and creatures have their habitation. Drink oil, thou homed in oil, promote the sacrificer more and more. Through all this world strode Vishnu, thrice his foot he planted, and the whole was gathered in his footsteps' dust. Vishnu the guardian, he whom none deceiveth, made 3 steps thenceforth, establishing these high decrees. Look ye on Vishnu's works, whereby the friend of Indra, close allied, hath let his holy ways be seen. The princes evermore behold that loftiest place where Vishnu is, like an extended eye in heaven. From heaven, O Vishnu, are from earth, O Vishnu, are from the great far spreading air's mid-region. Fill both thy hands full of abundant treasures, and from the right and left bestow them freely. And nowadays, one of the most common prayer ritual is ended by the facing the right and the left. Hymn 727, one verse. May Edda with her statue dwell beside us, she in whose place the pious purge and cleanse them, she mighty Soma decked, whose foot drops fatness, meet for all gods, hath come to aid our worship. And so I paused because I was going to say statue, but let us remember that the statues are not the beings. Hymn 728, one verse. Blessed be the broom. May the mace bring a blessing, and may the altar and the hatcher bless us. Worshipful gods, may they accept this worship. Lovers of sacrifice and sacrificers. And so again, we're talking about the light beings. But ultimate divinity, you make contact with ultimate divinity, and ultimate divinity makes contact with you. Hymn 729, 2 verses. This is your glorious might, Agna and Vishnu. Ye drink the essence of the mystic butter, placing in every home 7 costly treasures. Let your tongue stretch to take the offered fatness. Ye love the great law, Agna, Vishnu. Join ye feast on mystic essences of butter, exalted in each house with fair laudation. Let your tongue stretch to take the offered fatness. And one of the things about that stretching of divinity, or of an entity, is that our human efforts, per se, might fall a little bit short comparatively. Hymn 730, one verse. Heaven, earth, and Mitra, here have caused mine eyes to be anointed. Well, Savitar, Brahmanaspata, take care that they be duly balmed. And yeah, we need to take care of our eyes. But then again, we just don't put any of what people call whatever on our eyes. A lot of that actually is higher risk than we think. Hymn 731, one verse. Rouse us today, O Indra, Magavan hero, with thy best possible and varied succors. May he who hateth us fall low beneath us, and him whom we detest let life abandon. And, not liking people for a reason, not just, competition. Hymn 732, one verse. We bringing homage have approached the fiend, the friend who seeks our wondering praise, young strengthener of the sacrifice. May he bestow long life on me. Well, we were just talking about a fiend, so have approached the friend. So let us remember to pray for those on our side. Hymn 733, one verse. Let Pushan, let the Marutas, let Brahaspata pour forth on me. This present Agna pour on me children, and riches in a stream. May he bestow long life on me. And if we do get long life, let us use it well. Hymn 734, one verse. Agna, drive off my rivals, born and living, repel those yet unborn. O Jatavedas, cast down beneath my feet mine adversaries. In Aditya's regard, may we be sinless. And yeah, always what you know, what you don't know, what's the case, what's going to be the case. There are some things we just don't want anything of, right? Hymn 735, 3 verses. Subdue with conquering might his other rivals, those yet unborn repel, O Vedas, for great felicity protect this kingdom, and in this man let all the gods be joyful. Ha, quat tibi, sunt, vina, atba, arteria, harum, omnium, as tibi, lepide, occlusi, utere, tui, summum, partem, inferum, facio, netibi, soboles, nec, filius, eveniat, sterilem et infecundam te facio, lapidem tuum aperimentum facio. Sort of sounds alchemical, doesn't it? Hymn 736, 1 verse. Sweet are the glances of our eyes, our faces are as smooth as balm. Within thy bosom harbor me, one spirit dwell in both of us. Namaste, right? But see, you don't have to worship everything to make mention of that, right? It's not we're all part God or something. That's not what you have to mean when you say that. Hymn 737, 1 verse. With this my robe inherited from Manu, I envelop thee, so that thou mayest be all mine own, and give no thought to other dames. Hymn 7, and well, let us become one in worship rather than divided, serving multiple masters, as they call it. Hymn 738, 5 verses. I dig this healing herb that makes my lover look on me and weep, that bids the parting friend return and kindly greets him as he comes. This herb wherewith the Asuri drew Indra downward from the gods, with this same herb I draw thee close, that I may be most dear to thee. Thou art the peer of Soma, yet thou art the equal of the sun. The peer of all the gods art thou, therefore we call thee hitherward. I am the speaker here, not thou. Speaker thou, where the assembly meets. Thou shalt be mine, and only mine, and never mention other dames. If thou art far away, beyond the rivers, far away from men, this herb shall seem to bind thee fast, and bring thee back my prisoner. And Asuri, as in, a term for jinn. And we all have our place. Hymn 739, 1 verse. May he establish in our home the master of riches, gladdening with rain in season, mighty, strong-winged, celestial, dropping moisture, full of the plants and embryo of waters. Some of the Persian myths have, a primal bull. Or they have 2 primal bulls, a sun bull and a moon bull. Hammurabi, Hammurabi. We can pronounce Hammurabi. Hammurabi is, I guess, easier to say. I don't know why they changed it to that, but the thing was, well, the one's my authority, and the one, there's some communication that I read, and the thing was like, well, the sun and the moon bowl, the one guy served the one, and the other guy served the other, so neither one, for that reason, thought the either's way authoritative for them. Hymn 740, 2 verses. We call Sarasvat, under whose protection all cattle wander, to preserve and aid us, him in whose ordinance abide the waters, to whose command the Lord of plenty listens. Abiding here, let us invoke Sarasvat, the seat of riches, glorious wealth increaser, him who inclines and gives to him who worships, the rich possessor and the Lord of fullness. And fullness, the New Testament talks a lot about fullness, and Gnostically, fullness is like entities or a spiritual realm, not just a restoration. Plaharose. Hymn 771, 2 verses. Observing men and viewing home, the falcon hath cleft his swift way over wastes and waters. May he with Indra for a friend, auspicious, traversing all air's lower realms, come hither. The heavenly falcon, viewing men, well-pinioned, strength-giver, 100-footed, 100-nested, shall give us treasure which was taken from us. May it be rich in food among our fathers. Now, in ancient Egypt, we think of Horus. Her was referenced with the falcon, but her, just was the personality. Well, it was like, in the monotheist view, was divine personality. And so you didn't understand through certain material forms, but those material forms were not it. But of course, ultimate divinity, it was along with, whether you're monotheist or polytheist. And it wasn't, and Set was considered like limited to the material realm and more of the foreigner. But Horus was like all over the place, right? Hymn 742, 2 verses. Scatter and drive away Soma and Rudra, the sickness that hath come within our dwelling, afar into the distance chase destruction, and even from committed sin release us. Lay on our bodies, O ye twain, O Soma and Rudra, all those balms that heal diseases, set free and draw away the sin committed, which we have still inherent in our persons. Now there are healing properties of all 3 of the plants that go into the Soma mix. Hymn 743. Some of the words bode weal and some misfortune. Now scatters them all with friendly feeling. Deep within this 3 words are laid. Among them one hath flown off even as the sound was uttered. And it's essential to, when you do your banishings and all that other stuff, that it's not just done in spite of other things. Hymn 744, 1 verse. Ye twain have conquered, and have not been vanquished. Not either of the pair hath been defeated. Yea, Indra Vishnu, when ye fought your battle, produced this infinite with 3 divisions. Three divisions. What are those? Are they the light beings, the fire beings, and the humans? I think that's the order of the created beings and the realms thereof.